In year 2023, cement exports reached US dollars 91.1 million, sugar US dollars 75.8 million, plastic products US dollars 62.6 million, soap US dollars 33.9 million, beer US dollars 25.8 million. This financial year 23-24, efforts to increase export performance have been strengthened through investing in targeted value addition initiatives and implementing several enabling trade policies. Madam Speaker, in the financial ending, Uganda imported goods worth $12.9 billion compared to US dollars 10.3 billion in the year ending April 2023. This increase in imports was largely driven by an increase in private sector imports of 20%, mainly to develop our nascent oil and the gas sector, foreign direct investment, remittances, and tourism. Madam Speaker, the inflow of foreign direct investment to Uganda amounted to US dollars 2.46 billion in financial year 22-23, and by December 23-24, additional FDI amounting to US dollars 1.27 billion had been attracted. Remittances by Ugandans living and working abroad increased to US dollars 1.343 billion in the calendar year 2023 from US dollars 1.3 billion in year 2022. Tourism revenues increased to US dollars 1.28 billion in calendar year 2023 from US dollars 1.07 billion in calendar year 2022. Employment. Madam Speaker, job creation ranks top on the government's socio-economic agenda. The number of workers subscribing to the various pension schemes in the country increased more than 3.4 million members in the financial year 23-24, an increase of 4.2% compared to 3.0%, sorry, 0.3 compared to 0.301 million members in financial year 22-23. Madam Speaker, the latest reports indicate that the direct beneficiaries of the Presidential Initiative on Jobs and Wealth Creation, (ENIOGA), has reached 2,237,402 in December 2023. In the past 1 year alone, ENIOGA funds have created 378,640 new direct jobs. This was about 40,000 additional new jobs created compared to the new jobs created in the previous year. On the other front, so far, 1.165 million households have received PDM funds worth 1.126 trillion as of May 2024, and estimated to create about 2.5 million jobs. A total of 23,083 youth projects have benefited 263,897 youth under the youth livelihood program in areas of agriculture, trade, services, and industry. This has created over 1,250,000 indirect jobs. Similarly, the National Special Grant for Persons with Disabilities is supporting 6,282 enterprises, benefiting 49,3 372 persons with disabilities. Madam Speaker, government is also going to create more formal jobs and related livelihoods through a number of project-funded interventions. Notable among these are the GROW and INVITE projects. The GROW program is expected to directly benefit over 80,000 female-owned enterprises, 280,000 female entrepreneurs, and 1.6 million indirect beneficiaries. Another 200,000 new jobs are expected to be created from new investments through the INVITE project. Fiscal performance, Madam Speaker, as a result of our fiscal consolidation agenda, which is intended to enhance revenue collection, limit borrowing for only critical and strategic investments, and control government expenditure. Government's fiscal deficit has reduced to 4.5% of GDP this financial year from 5.5% of GDP last year. Madam Speaker, the projected domestic revenue outturn for financial year 22-24 is shillings 27.725 trillion against the target of shillings 29.672 trillion, leading to a revenue shortfall of over 1.9 trillion. The Uganda Revenue Authority is working hard in the remaining days to reduce this shortfall. The revenue to GDP ratio is estimated at 13.6% of GDP in financial year 23-24. Domestic revenue for financial year 24-25 is projected to amount to shillings 31.982 trillion, equivalent to 14.2% of our GDP. Economic growth strategy and outlook. Madam Speaker, Uganda's economic outlook is positive and optimistic. I repeat this. Madam Speaker, Uganda's economic outlook is positive and optimistic. The economy has remained resilient and has fully recovered from a myriad of internal and external shocks. Next financial year, the economy is projected to get back to Uganda's steady state growth potential of between 6.4% and 7%, and double-digit over the next 5 years. We are there. It is projected that next financial year, 2024-25, Uganda's GDP will further expand to shillings 225.5 trillion, which is equivalent to $60 billion. These numbers exclude the anticipated oil and gas revenues, as well as the planned interventions to grow the economy tenfold. We shall update the projections in the medium term. Madam Speaker, this growth will be driven by, 1, increased oil and gas activities as we move towards the first oil production in financial year 2025-26. 2, growth in exports supported by increase in regional trade in the East Africa, MESA, intra-Africa trade, and harnessing existing and new trading partners in the Middle East and Asia. 3, increase in tourism activities supported by investment in tourism infrastructure, branding and marketing, and effective implementation of the meetings, incentives, conferences, and events program. It is that program. Agro-industrialization and light manufacturing supported by access to affordable credit through Uganda Development Bank, investments supported through Uganda Development Corporation, UDC, the Parish Development Model, Small Business Recovery Fund, MIOGA, the Presidential Industrial Hubs for Youth Entrepreneurs, and programs to support exporters as well as growth and productivity of women enterprises. Private investment growth supported by foreign direct investment, remittances, and stable macroeconomic investment. Continued investment in industrial parks, construction and maintenance of roads and bridges. And finally, the rehabilitation of the meter gauge railway and the commencement of the standard gauge railway, expansion of ICT infrastructure, and provision of reliable and affordable electricity. Madam Speaker, Uganda's growth strategy for the next financial year and in the medium term is anchored on 4 key growth drivers. 1, agro-industrialization. 2, tourism development. 3, mineral development including oil and gas. 4, science, technology, and innovation. These are the anchor sectors that are going to propel Uganda to a $500 billion economy in the next 1.5 decades. Madam Speaker, our growth prospects face some risks that we need to be mitigated. Let me repeat. Our growth prospects face some risks that we need to be mitigated. These include 1, climate change affecting agricultural production and infrastructure. We have just been seeing this a couple of months back. 2, regional and global geopolitical tensions. That one I will not comment. You all know. 3, high interest rates which constrain access to affordable debt. And 4, fluctuations in global commodity prices. To minimize the effects of these risks, government is implementing climate change adaptation measures, exploring cheaper sources of financing, including climate finance, and ensuring frugality in government expenditure. I repeat this, and ensuring frugality in government expenditure. Now I want to account for financial 23-24 and the priorities for financial year that we are talking about. Madam Speaker, in the national budget for the financial we are ending, 23-24, that I presented here on June 15th last year, government made a number of commitments intended to deliver on NDP3 priorities, as well as promises we made to the people of Uganda in the annual manifesto 21-26. In this section, I provide accountability for what government has achieved so far and what it intends to do to ensure that commitments to the citizens are are to a large extent fulfilled. Madam Speaker, I will start with what we have achieved by investing in the people of Uganda through prioritization of health care, education, water, sanitation, and hygiene. Madam Speaker, during financial 23-24, the following milestones have been achieved in the health sector. 1, government commenced the construction of the East African Center of Excellence for cardiovascular care. Thank you. At the Uganda Heart Institute, located in Naguru, and fast-tracking the completion of the East African Center of Excellence for Oncology in Kampala and associated regional centers in Gulu, Mbarara, Arua, and Mbale. They don't encourage me. Under the Uganda Intergovernmental Fiscal Transfer Program, 371 health center tools were planned for construction and upgrade to Health Center 3 status. So far, 261 health center tools have been upgraded to Health Center 3s and are fully operational. I hope the Minister of Health can testify on this. An additional 110 are ongoing at different stages. Meanwhile, 10 hospitals were rehabilitated in Usolwe, Kapchorwa, Kambuga, Wenge, Koboko, Amuria, Kotido, Kaberamaido, Kaworo, and Kitgum districts. 3 regional blood banks in Arua, Soroti, and Hoima have been completed. 4. Government distributed a total of 25 million long-lasting insecticide-treated mosquito-based nets countrywide for the prevention of malaria. 5. Government also provided 116 new ambulances to 100 constituencies, another 10 ambulances for the regional referral hospitals, and 6 for the command center at Naguru, among others. Madam Speaker, to further enhance the health of Ugandans, a total of shillings 2.946 trillion has been provided next financial year, 24-25. The following interventions will be prioritized: promotion and implementation of interventions for the disease prevention and health education initiative against communicable and non-communicable diseases and injuries. 2. Provision of essential medicines, where an additional shillings 100 billion has been provided. 3. Improvement of the welfare of the health workers, including medical interns and doctors designated as senior house officers. I have provided more wage allocations to facilitate the recruitment of staff for the upgraded Health Center 3s. 4. Construction and rehabilitation of more health infrastructure and provision of medical equipment to improve quality of care and provision of specialized health care. These include, among others, the Uganda Cancer Institute and regional cancer centers, the Uganda Health Institute, intensive care units, and an imaging center for referral hospitals. Designation of the national health system to facilitate service delivery and tracking of medical supplies and health workers' performance. 6. Construction, rehabilitation, and equipping of dilapidated hospitals across the country, including the Kampala metropolitan area. 7. Strengthening of the network of medical reference laboratories, including the establishment of the East African Community Regional Center of Excellence for Virology at Uganda Virus Research Institute and the National Public Health Institute in Uganda. 8. Establishment of a pharmaceutical industrial park and strengthening the National Drug Authority regulatory framework. Now I turn to education. Madam Speaker, government considers education as a key opportunity equalizer for all Ugandans, equipping them with knowledge and skills required for productive employment, as well as enabling them to live longer, happier, affluent lives. For this reason, the following commitments were prioritized and delivered in financial year 23-24. 1. Skilling in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. 2. Construction and equipping of 21 laboratories across the country in selected secondary schools using UPDF engineering brigade. 3, upgrading learning facilities in 12 technical institutes and 4 vocational education centers of excellence at Uganda Technical College in Bushenyi, Bukalasa, Lira, and Ergon. 4, out of 259 seed secondary schools planned and Widgefield, 105 have been completed and 144 are ongoing. Madam Speaker, I have provided 2.497 trillion to further improve the quality of education, and the following are among the priorities. 1, supporting the new curriculum for S1 to 4 students. 2, operationalization of all the 110 seed secondary schools and completing the 27 seed secondary schools under the UGIFT program. 3, commencing the construction of 60 secondary schools and expansion of 61 existing secondary schools under the Uganda Secondary Education Expansion Project. 4, providing loans to 5,192 degree and 1,125 diploma students who are on the government-funded loan scheme, both continuing students and new beneficiaries. 5, government takeover of the proposed Bunyoro and Busoga universities for inclusive and equitable access to university education. Bunyoro, you can talk. You can clap, because it has been a thorn in my flesh. Social protection. Madam Speaker, in the year we are concluding, government has provided social protection as follows. 1, continued with the provision of the senior citizen grant to 439,069 older persons across the country, amounting to a cumulative total of money, shillings 565.7 billion. 2, under the Special Enterprise Grant for Older Persons Program, SEGOP, the government supported 590 group enterprises benefiting 3,636 older persons. 3, under the Youth Livelihood Program, a total of 23,083 youth projects have benefited 263,897 youth in areas of agriculture, trade, services, and industry. This has created over 1,250,000 direct jobs. And 4, through the National Special Grant for Persons with Disabilities, government is supporting 6,202 enterprises, benefiting 49,372 persons with disabilities. Madam Speaker, government will continue to support the welfare of elderly to keep them healthy and productive in their communities, while social assistance grant for empowerment, what we call SAGE, targets those above 80 years, SEGOP, ensures they, sorry, let me repeat. While social assistance grant for empowerment, what we call SAGE, targets those above 80 years, SEGOP ensure the inclusion of those in the age bracket of 61 to 71 years. That is for us now. Government will also continue to support the youth and women beneficiary groups using recovery funds from the Youth Livelihood Program and the Uganda Women's Enterprise Program. For greater efficiency, management of the two programs has been unified. Madam Speaker, I have provided an additional shillings 355.79 billion for social protection next financial year. water, sanitation, and environment protection.